Do you wish somebody wrote down the recipe for your parenting challenges? Did you want tips and tricks to become a better mama for you and your babies? I know I do. If you're a mother who feels that you are doing the best you can with the hands you've been dealt, but you're still getting it done, then this podcast is for you. I'm so glad you tuned in to Nailed It Motherhood, because we might have the recipe that nobody wrote down. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Nailed It Motherhood Podcast. I am your host with the most, Tamara Eldridge. Before we get into today's deep and powerful conversation, because I know it's going to be that, if something you hear makes you pause, reflect, or even say, that's me, go ahead and like, share, follow, and leave a review. And hey, if you want to go a step further in supporting our platform, you can hit Buy Me a Coffee, or you can subscribe directly to the Buzzsprout link. Your support truly helps the space stay open and honest and really growing, which it really is. I'm super excited. Now, thank you, listeners, for staying with me in that introduction, but it is time to talk about today's guest. She's been a mother for 30 years, a grandmother for 7. And when you see her, you're going to say, what? Not her. But it's true, y'all. And she's just now finding her rhythm again, rediscovering who she is outside of motherhood. She said it best. I don't have all the answers, but I do have some of the answers. And that's all we're looking for here. Someone who might have the recipe. From surviving abuse, sexual assault, and teenage motherhood to overcoming self-doubt and imposter syndrome, she has lived through it all. And she's come out on the other side choosing growth, purpose, and grace. Listeners, please help me welcome to our podcast, the fierce, the unstoppable Tiffany Mathias. Hey, beautiful.
And it goes wild.
Woo!
Applause. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hi. I'm so excited that you're here. Like I said, y'all see this face? She's beautiful. And she said she's been here for 30 years, y'all.
No filter. Yes. I just looked out in the DNA pool. I am not sure how I still look like this. If I took this bandana off of my head, you would see that I have this halo platinum highlights, but that's what tells my tale. But I just looked out in the DNA pool, either that, and what I'm about to say is my opinion and my opinion only, and reflects none of the Nailed It Motherhood podcast. I think they might have been putting something in the Similac and Enfamil back in the 70s. That's a topic for another show.
Well, can we get that for now? I don't age moving forward. All I'm saying.
Right, whatever you put in the food now make you sick.
No, oh my goodness. Well, Tiffany, thank you for bringing your joy and your humor to the show. I am so excited to hear your personal parenting journey. But we all know, before we get to that point, to hear your powerful story, I have to tell everybody what's going on in my world with my baby girl. So I'm going to share our Tavi tale. So Tiffany, I don't know how many episodes ago, but I shared part 1 of my episode of my Tavi tale about my child, thinking that she might have stage fright. I knew going into that episode that she had a chorus concert coming up and she had a dance recital coming up. And I was a little nervous that she might not perform at all. But I was very, very surprised because when it came to her chorus concert, this is her 3rd chorus concert, 5 years old. She's been in the same school for the last 3 years. The first year, she lifted her dress up the whole show. So that was fun. I was very happy I put on the red shorts. The second year, she just got off the stage and came and sat with me the entire concert. So, I didn't use my lunch break for nothing or anything. And then this year, She stayed on the risers the whole time. We had a chat. I said to her, this is your kindergarten year. You're the big kid in the class. I really want you to stay on that stage. And she did. She mean mugged the whole time and she pouted at me and my boyfriend, but she stayed on the stage the whole time. And she sang every word of every song. Then we come to our dance recital. I was very nervous because we've never done this kind of format before, but she was excited. She was so excited. She kept talking about it. Her dance recital didn't start till 5. She didn't have to be there till 4. So she woke up that morning and she was like, why didn't you wake me up? Now, mind you, mornings are the worst with her. So for her to come to me and be like, why didn't you wake me up? She was ready. She was really, really ready to do this. I said, because you don't have a recital for another few hours. So she was like, oh, okay. So we get ready. We take her to the recital. She's looking around. She's excited. She's playing with the kids behind the scenes. Then it's time for her class to go out. They were the second song in the recital. She heard the music playing, the video that was like the introduction to the show. She watched the adult class and then she started to freak out a little bit, right? She was nervous. She wouldn't let me leave her side. I was helping behind the stage. She wouldn't let me leave her side. She was sitting on my lap. My leg was going to sleep. I couldn't get up. I'm too big to be sitting on the floor like these kids. I can't do crisscross applesauce, Indian style. I can't do that. I'm too big for that. But I was on the floor because she was like, I'm cold. The lights. Then during the adult song, her teacher comes and she was first in line. And she said, stand up, class. The girl lost it. She flipped out. She was not about to do this. She started screaming. She started crying. I had to bring her down because like there's a whole performance going on and we're on the side of the stage. And she out. The owner of the dance studio came over and she was like, Mom, you can stand on the side. Let her go. She can stand. I tried my hardest. That girl had all the might in the world. She cried the whole time to the point where when her class finally went out, she was not going out with them. So her classmates were looking at her like, what are you doing? What is all of this? Like, calm down. And they went out on stage and they started that song. And my daughter, Tavia, did not go out there at all. So eventually we walked back to the stage and I had to be the best version of me that I could be, although I was pissed. Tiffany. I was pissed. I said, all this money I just spent on this dance class, all this time that I just spent making sure that you were at every class on time, before time, making sure that you were practicing after school, making sure we were watching this horribly recorded, I shouldn't say that, making sure that we were watching this recorded dance practice from the teacher, and you didn't get on stage. Then she had the nerve to say to me, can I get in another class on the same day backstage? I'm still not over the 2 hours ago when you didn't go on the stage. But it has been verified that my child has tremendous stage fright, and we will not be doing that again. Thank you so much for listening to my Tavi Tale. I had to share the update because I know the listeners were wondering. And I appreciate you for being the first person that I got to share that with.
Oh, my heart goes out. As a former dancer, I understand the stage fright. But I was saying here, I was like, please let her come through like Michigan J. Frog and just be like, ribbit.
No.
Listen, give it a few more years. Let her grow out of it, maybe. But yeah, I was feeling your pain because taking them to rehearsal, waiting while they're in rehearsal, coming home after rehearsal, then the cost of the costumes and the hair and the this,
right?
Sell the tickets. And they're like, where Tommy at? Tommy said, I'm right here in the audience with you.
Right. Exactly that. And a part of me blames myself because I was like, if I wasn't backstage, I wonder, would she have gone? But then I know my child. And I know that she would have been mad because other parents were back there helping. And she thinks if one other parent is back there, then I should also be back there. So I'm like, what do I do? And I know my child has a lot of personality. So I needed to be back there so that she could bring it down with a little bit of firmness, because I know her teacher wasn't giving her that. So we're still alive. She started gymnastics. We won't be doing any competitions anytime soon, but gymnastics is for the summer. And then ironically, her teacher reached out to me today and said, we really are sad that she didn't make it out there, but we might have some other options if you do decide to come back in the fall. So I'll work through it with her because she's talented. Now, she's not the most talented at the dancing part, but the girl is a singer. She is beyond a thespian. Like, my girl, that makes me proud because I'm an actress. I get so proud whenever I see her little characters coming through, but I'm like, dang, she might not ever be able to actually get out there and do what she has to do. And I get the stage fright too, Tiffany. I do, because if I'm out on stage, if I have to be Tammy or Tamara, I'm shaking and burning and I want to get off the stage as quickly as possible. But if I'm acting and I'm somebody else, man, I'm not worried about anything or anybody around me. So I'm hoping and praying that we grow out of it. But if there are techniques that any of you listeners have for me, please send them my way. We're going to figure this out so that she can get over her little fear. But again, thank you for listening to my Tavi Tale. It is now time for you to shine because I think I've hogged enough of the episode. So I'm going to read your bio.
Okay.
And then after that, you have the microphone, boo, because this is your herstory segment. So
okay.
I know my listeners want to know who you are. So let me read your bio. Tiffany Phoenix Mathias is a founding member of the Diamond Writers and part of the Leadership Council for Transparent Gem Incorporated. She supports women through the process of embracing the power of their voice and sharing their stories. She is an entrepreneur, author, and content creator. Tiffany uses the power of her voice to inspire and motivate. She is the associate producer and one of the co-hosts on the Hustle and Shine podcast. As a wife, mother, and grandmother, I don't believe it, y'all, Tiffany has taken up the mantle of being a cycle breaker in her family. Fueled by her own divineness, she lives boldly in her womanhood. She is the founder of the Phoenix Center for Youth Development and the lead visionary behind Sisterhood and Shenanigans events. I am loving this bio. Her focus is on supporting youth into independent adulthood and the collective healing of all women. Her motto, restore, rise, and reign, which reminds us to accept the imperfections of life, learn from them, and live in the higher power of self. So listeners, that is Tiffany Mathias, and she is the next voice that you'll hear.
Oh my God, that is me. Who wrote that? I wrote that. Hey, y'all. Hey, yes, I am Tiffany Phoenix Mathias. And it is a pleasure to be here on the Nailed It Motherhood podcast. Where do I begin? All right. We can go back 31 years. 31 years to me in the middle of my gap year. After I graduated high school, I took a gap year. At least that's not what it was called back then. But I took a year between my high school graduation and going to college to try and figure myself out and what it was that I wanted to do. And I decided I wanted to go into early childhood education. I knew I wanted to work with children, specifically young children, when they're the most impressionable. And then 1 month I got my acceptance letter to college, and the next month I peed on a stick and I was pregnant. And I had choices and decisions to make. And I decided that I was going to forego my education a little bit longer. I was going to embrace motherhood. And with the support of my mother and my family, I gave birth in January 1995, to my eldest daughter, Indigo, who has been right now, she's my best friend, right? But as my eldest child, she helped me walk through the door of my own childhood into womanhood and motherhood. But she's had a front row seat through me becoming the woman that I am, and sometimes to her own detriment. And I'm just so grateful for her. And along that journey, there came 2 other sisters, a husband, and 2 bonus sons, and now a grandson. And I'm so delighted to be these people, a wife, a mom, a grandma, but it took me a very long time to figure out who was Tiffany as a person, as an individual, outside of being called those titles. For the last 5 years, I've been on a journey to figure that out. So I was 45 when I figured out who I was, not only as a woman, but who I was as a person, because so much of my life had been consumed by motherhood and being a caregiver for other people, that I kept putting all of my wants and needs and everything on the back burner, because if my family wasn't good, then I wasn't good. And I came to realize that it's kind of actually the opposite. If I'm not good, they're not going to be good, because I'm the anchor. I'm the person who's steering this ship. I'm the one that's guiding. I'm all of these things here. But if I'm not whole, I can't pour into them. You know what the saying is, you can't pour from an empty cup. And therefore, I was actually parenting in a toxic manner. I was raising them in an unhealthy manner. And when they started to transition into adulthood and I started seeing my wounded self in them, I was like, yeah, a change has got to come. So my older daughters and I, Indigo is 30, Sienna is 23, and Jade is 17. I have a thing for colors. Yeah, we are really working on transforming the mother-daughter dynamic on our branch of my family tree. And so was out here minding my business on these social media streets when I came across this opportunity, and I was like, oh, I'm interested in this. Let me hit this person up and see what could happen. And then now here I am on the Nailed It Motherhood podcast.
Thank you for the plug. I appreciate it.
There's nothing shameless about it either.
There's nothing shameless about this. This is baby number 2 for me. So I appreciate it. I'm so glad that you found us. You said a lot in a very, very condensed amount of time. So we're going to definitely bring some more details out. Where do I start, though? That's the question. Okay. So let's start from what you said last. You are working on transforming the mother-daughter dynamic. Can you explain what that looks like? I think I heard you say when you identified that there was a need for that, but start from when you realize something's not right. Let's figure this out, and then talk about that journey. What does the healing process look like for the mother-daughter dynamic?
So for me personally, within my family, the mother-daughter dynamic gets very sticky. It's very much like, I love my mother, but, and it's the but that always is like, oh, why? Like, why does there need to be in all of these relationships the but? Why isn't it just simply, I love my mother, I love my daughter? There's always this hanging point of but, as if there's something wrong in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And what I learned is that the wrong is hurt. So, cycle breaking. I am am the teenage daughter of a teenage mother who was a teenage mother who was a teenage mother, right? And so there's a stunted growth and maturity when you become a mother at a young age and you're not fully equipped to handle things. And so you're only operating out of your limited capacity. And then that gets passed on. And then that gets passed on. And then that gets passed on. When my eldest daughter graduated high school in 2013, she was a virgin. I was like, wait, my family does that? Because we came from teenage mothers. So for her to be a virgin, I was like, boom. It was a badge of honor, but then it was also like a shameful thing to be proud about. And that was hurtful. So the healing came or had to come along when I started seeing my limitations that I was raising my girls with when they reached those ages, those pinnacle ages of like 18, 21. And I started seeing my wounded reflection in them. The way they navigated their relationship with me, the way they navigated their relationships with each other, and then the way they navigated their relationships with their friends and then, you know, their little boyfriends or partners or whatever it is. I was like, oh yeah, there's some healing that has to be done. Because now, and I think the biggest, like, you need to get this together came when my daughter told me she was pregnant. I was like, oh, we're about to have another generation here. We can't do this. We can't do this to this baby. It's got to stop. It ends with us. I said a lot again.
Yeah, but it's so good. It's so good because I can hear that there is a desire for restoration. And let me start by saying, I love that you said that you recognize that there is a cycle that needed to be broken.
Yeah.
Do you think the restoration starts with your grandmother?
No. And this is something that I learned I did a women's rites of passage program about 6 years ago. And one of the lessons or one of the weeks of work is birth stories and understanding that we carry within us the trauma of whatever our mothers were going through when they were pregnant with us. And so if I had to look at it like how far back I have to go, I'd have to go back way past my grandmother, because my grandmother only passed on to my mother what trauma was in her. And then my mother only passed on to me. And then I passed on to my daughters. And now my daughter passed on to my grandson. Now, the difference in that is that it's a little bit different that it went to a son versus another womb. So I can't go that far back. The restoration actually has to start once we realize where it is, which is in this generation right now, and recognizing what those traumas are and what are those things that we need to address. And since you talk about restoration, that's part of my motto. The first part is restoration, restoring, meaning something happened, right? And we have to recognize what that thing was. And then we can only rebuild with the pieces that we have.
I am hoping that I don't get emotional because I like to acknowledge that I am a thug. But you said something that hit me because during my pregnancy with Tavia, God, I hated my pregnancy. I hated everything about my pregnancy. I hated the things that were happening that I felt like were happening to me. during my pregnancy. I lost a lot of people during my pregnancy, but there was also that point where I regained self during my pregnancy. For you to say, and this is the first time that I'm hearing this, for you to say that we carry within us the trauma that our parents were going through when they carried us, it was kind of an alarm for me because of all the trauma that I carried during my pregnancy. Mm-hmm. And I want to know, like, how do I stop it? She's young, so I have time. Mm-hmm. But how do I heal that while healing myself? Yeah, so I was a little bit like, oh God, Tiffany, I didn't mean for you to come here and be talking to me like this. I just wanted to hear your story. That's it. That's all I wanted.
Talking about me in front of my face.
Right. And I don't even know you like that.
Right. How you talking about me in front of my face? Like I'm not sitting right here. Yeah. In the Rites of Passage program, we call it My Sister, Myself. When we start seeing something that another woman is sharing and we can connect and we relate to it, it's like, oh yeah, I see myself in you. And that recognition is really one of the first steps in a healing journey, is realizing that you're not the only person to have ever gone through this, and you're not going through it by yourself. And it's in our isolation that the trauma, the anxiety, the grief, the depression, all of those negative and low vibrational energies take over, because it gets us to where we're just spin cycling on our own. Instead of being able to have an open, safe conversation about it and realize as a collective, oh, we're all going through some form of this. And some of us have actually been through this and are on the other side of it. So now I'm going to reach back for my sister and help her over. Yes. That's the rising part.
I love it. That is sort of why I created this podcast, because for me, I didn't have the answers, but I know there are people who have the answers. And you might not have the exact answers for my exact situation, but you have something that I can glean from. And man, you are such a powerful woman. You do so many amazing things, but I'm so glad that you were able to bring out the rites of passage for the women that you work with. I love that concept. Can you share a little bit more about that before we get back into your personal story? Just kind of like plug it for yourself, because we talked a little bit before we started recording and I said, okay, this might be something that I'm interested in. So can you share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. The program is called Be the Tree Rites of Passage program. It is under the Spirit of a Woman organization. The founder is my good girlfriend and my mentor, Shawnee Benton Gibson, who, again, like she goes by saying she's a powerhouse in the house. Shawnee is actually the subject of the Tanya Lee documentary Aftershock, which discusses the Black maternal health crisis, because Shawnee lost her daughter Shamani to a pulmonary embolism after she gave birth to her second child. And so, yeah, when I tell you that this woman has been doing the work of birth and reproductive rights, women's rights, and all of the restorative justice around women, she's been doing this work for about 30 years. And so this is one of her programs. It is absolutely amazing. It is done virtually. And so anyone across the globe can do this, as long as you can get onto the link and register for an interest call and follow through, because we do everything through Zoom. But it's such a powerful, powerful program. It's about 14, 16 weeks, and it takes you on a journey of self-discovery where you find out exactly what your purpose is in life. Do you know women are out here just aimlessly existing? I'm not going to say living, out here existing in the world and have no idea what their purpose is outside of being a wife, being a mom, being like the titles that we get because we were born or somebody was born. Right. So our first title is child, like you become so-and-so's child. And if that family had children, you become a sister or a brother. Right? So you're born with a title, but then what are you outside of that title? Who are you at the core of who you are? And this program really helped you with that. And it was part of what helped me in my healing journey with my relationships with my daughters. When we did the womb work, and it's the lesson is really on womb restoration. We apologize to our womb spaces for the things that we did to them. Did we? Yes, we carried children. Some of us carried the children to term and birthed live babies. Some of us released pregnancies because we don't use the abortion word. Some of us carried life with that did not survive. So, like, we allowed people into our womb spaces who were not worthy of being there. And we carried that residual energy within us. When I tell you, it was deep. It was deep.
Man.
To your womb for what you did to it. We're like, sis, I'm sorry.
I mean, let me go. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Oh goodness. I can imagine how deep that is. How many boxes of tissues do you go through in something like this? Oh my goodness.
Plenty of boxes of tissue, and you're supported by people, by other women who are holding space for you to feel all the feels and for you to process it. And in that space, we're taught tears are libation. Tears are healthy. We carry around and hold these tears and like, oh, I ain't supposed to cry, and crying is a sign of weakness and all these. Girl, let them tears flow. Let them flow. It is cleansing.
Yes, I love that. This work is amazing work. I am so glad that you talked about it because I have not heard of this. And it just sounds like, regardless of how you carried out your journey of motherhood or your womanhood journey, there are so many mothers that are walking aimlessly in this world, just doing what it is that you were told to be, or that you became accidentally. So we're going to go back to you.
Yes.
When you shared that only at the age of 45, you realize what your purpose is. What is the revelation like when you are walking through life, being a mother for what at this time, 25-ish years? You've been a mother for 25 years. I don't know when you got married, but you've been a wife or a fiance or a girlfriend for however long. You've been whatever job you were holding for however long, but you are just now recognizing your purpose in life. What is that? Tell me about that.
Oh, it was a whole aha Tiffany epiphany moment because it all makes sense. I always gravitate towards children. Always be like, Tiffy, love the kids, right? I'll have Tavi, let us meet in person. By the time we leave, Tavi will be calling me on Fifi, right? Because I have a genuine love for children and the innocence of children. But there's also this whole thing about getting them into adulthood, right? We can't stay children forever, right? We do eventually have to grow up, right? We can't be Peter Pan. What's that thing that happens in between? not every child comes from a home or from a family who loves and nurtures on them.
Yeah.
Not every child comes from a place of guidance. And it's not because the family doesn't want to. Sometimes the family just doesn't know how to. You can't teach what you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are we supposed to do as a community? Be like, oh, let them go out there and figure it out? Well, children who are left to figure things out alone usually get into trouble. And then this is where the systemic injustices come up, because there's limited education, there's limited extracurricular activities. We're over policed, we're over monitored. If you're a woman of color, you're over and hypersexualized. And all of these things are coming, and we're supposed to leave them to figure that out on their own, and then think that the next generation is going to be successful. No, the only thing we successfully done is set them up to fail. I was like, okay, so I love the children, right? I know I made a crap ton of mistakes. And if only I had somebody who I could go to, who I felt comfortable enough to confide in without judgment, or ridicule, or feeling like I was an embarrassment to them, what could my life have been? Oh, so that's who you want to be. You want to be what you thought you needed when you were going through stuff, when life was life, and then you and your friends were sitting here, the blind leading the blind, trying to get through high school and get through. You want to be that beacon of light in their darkness. Okay, here we go. And then the pieces start falling into place. Okay, so now that you know this is what your purpose is, what are you going to do with that purpose? Because we're all born with one, but if we don't live in it, if we don't exercise in it, then it's just sitting there. It's like having fine china and you put it in the china cabinet. All it do is collect dust. Don't touch it. Right? So.
Right. Oh gosh. I love that story. I love, who is Tiffany? That's what you figured out. You were a wife, a mom, a daughter, a grandma. Who was Tiffany? And it took you up until you were 45 years old. Has that changed your relationship now with your daughter? Knowing your purpose, your daughters, knowing your purpose, has that opened the doorway so that you can be that gap filler?
It definitely has. For one, I know who I am outside of being their mother. And I just text the older two the other morning. And I asked them, because I was in a meeting and something was said, and it kind of like asked the girls, right? Have I gotten to a point where I am friendly enough to be your friend, where you can come to me because you need guidance, and still be motherly enough to be your mother? Because we all heard that, right? I'm not your little friend. There becomes a point in time where you need to be your child's friend, but you can't let the friendship overpower. The story real quick. Okay. Yes. When social media first started, my 17-year-old was about 2 or 3 years old. And I used to do these Facebook posts called Conversations with My Daughters, which essentially now people do them as story time. So now I do conversations with my grandson. I took him to work with me last week. And before we left the office, I'm like, come, let's go to the bathroom, whatever, because we got to travel on the trains, this, that, next, and another. So we go to the bathroom, we're washing our hands, and he's like, Grandma, why that water look like that? And so I look down, and the water's kind of foggy looking. And I'm like, well, because this is an old building in New York City, and, you know, the pipes are kind of old. So sometimes you have to run the water a little bit before it runs clear. He said, oh, so that's why it looks like fish piss.
I had to swallow first. Where he learned piss from?
Probably YouTube, but at my big age of almost 50 years old, I had to go and look at it. I was like, do fish urinate?
Well,
so these kids will keep you on your toes if you're not ready for them.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
So now I can't look at the water off his bathroom without hearing his little voice in my head.
Oh, he meant that thing too. So I look like fish.
His whole little chest. Don't you? When the little people talk logic, like old people logic at you, like you only been here since 2018.
Right.
Why are you looking like you from 1958?
Because they probably are. If I firmly believe that my mother is my child. My mom died in 2007. If I ever wanted to see her again, I think all I got to do is talk to my child who thinks she is my mother. I believe that there's some, like, now I don't do reincarnation, but I do believe that spirit of Phyllis Ann fell into Tavia Marie. And it won't let me go because she thinks. But okay. I don't remember what we were talking about. I know you were kind of telling us a little bit about
we were talking about the youth and being a beacon for them so that they're not out there aimlessly wandering the world. My purpose.
Your purpose. Well, I think this is a great place to play a game. What do you think?
I'm ready.
Well, before we play the game, I do want to thank you because you added so much value to Nailed It Motherhood podcast. I don't think that we've had anyone who does quite the work that you do now. We've had several people doing lots of work around women and lots of work around mothers. And we've had doulas. We've had people who work with mothers against addictions and just amazing people. But I don't think I've heard your perspective yet. And I literally took notes. I'm probably going to be reaching out to show interest into the rites of passage group. It's just you do so much, and I'm happy for you that you have found your purpose, because I feel like that is the aha. I've always had this interest, and now I know what to do with it, which direction to go with this passion that I've had. And I'm grateful for the people that you will impact, because what your purpose is very necessary. It's so necessary. I work in a school district for the Office of Equity, so that the systemic injustice piece, that is what my job entails. And everything you said is so real. The hypersexuality, the criminalization, just the expectation and the adultification that we put on our brown kids, and then hope that they'll just get it whenever we push them out with no resources. It baffles me that we still don't get it as a whole. And I'm praying that something hits soon. But I appreciate that I have encountered so many people that are doing this work, because we know how powerful and how necessary this work is. So keep walking in your purpose, boo. I'm excited for you. You're so welcome.
You just said something that made me, it triggered a thought. I remember reading a news article, and it referred to, I want to say it was like a 16 or 17-year-old Black young woman. And they said 17-year-old woman, right? But then if the article was about somebody that was not of the diaspora, they would have said 17-year-old girl.
Yep.
There's a funny way, like the even the media has this like way of spinning a story with simple words. And so when did a 17-year-old, regardless of race, become a man or a woman? You could say young man, you could say young woman, but technically they're a child.
Yeah.
But again, that becomes along with the penal system where it's like, oh, they will prosecute a Black and brown child at the age of 14, 15, 16 as an adult. But then their counterpart of a different race and nationality, they will push it through in family court because so again, got to be there for them because, and if they don't have an advocate for them or somebody who could help, provide information to their parent, then they're just out there again, lost in the world.
Lost. And then by the time they get to the world, we too busy and too occupied with what we got going on in our lives to provide any aid for them to recover. Let's just be honest. But that's another story. We might have to have a whole episode simply about that. I mean, we could be on that one for days. So I'm gonna have to block my calendar. But it is time to play Tea Time. So Tea Time is a game of rapid fire. I have come up with a bunch of questions. They are in my little bucket right here. Okay. I'm gonna pull these questions. Some of them are deep. Some of them are just for fun. But Tiffany, you will have 3 minutes to answer as many questions as you can before the timer comes up, just to give us a little insight into who you are. Girlfriend.
I'm ready.
Okay, I didn't even have to ask.
What's the most somebody's done? I'm a little competitive.
Ooh, I don't really count them, but there's only about 15 questions in this bucket. And I think we probably hit about 10. Okay.
I'm going.
Going for. I might have to hurry up and think of some questions because I feel like this is gonna be rapid fire. All right. I'm gonna put the clock on the stage so that you can see it.
Okay.
And we are gonna go ahead and get started.
Awesome. Ready.
First question: what emoji do you use the most?
Oh, it's the mind blown.
Yes, that has been a popular one because it's who's your celebrity crush?
Ooh, Tracy Ellis Ross.
Yes, I love her. If you could instantly master any skill, what would it be?
Driving a car.
Something as simple as that. What's the worst piece of advice you ever received?
Oh my God, the worst piece of advice I've ever received. Don't break up with him.
Oh. Name the most spontaneous thing you've ever done.
Booked a flight to Vegas to go see Beyonce.
Yes. What is the last TV show or movie you binge watched?
Oh, I'm doing it right now. Godfather of Harlem.
Okay, Harlem. What's your dream vacation spot?
Any place tropical.
Yes, absolutely. What's the most ridiculous fear you've ever had?
My teeth falling out.
What's your hidden talent?
I am a karaoke queen.
Lucy, I'm not ready. You're answering these too fast. What's your go-to comfort food?
It's a toss-up between mac and cheese and lasagna.
Oh, yes. I'll go with lasagna. Morning person or night owl?
Morning.
What's your guilty pleasure?
Scrolling social media.
Name one book, podcast, or resource that's changed your perspective.
The Nailed It Motherhood.
Okay, but you have your own, so don't be trying to plug me. I don't believe you. If you could give your younger self advice, what would it be?
Trust the process.
I love that. What pet peeve will you never get over?
People wasting my time. We said we're going to meet at 3:00. You got until 3:10 before I'm irritated.
Okay, girlfriend, I think you are the winner because this is the last question. What's the best gift you ever received?
A chilled bottle of wine and some peanut butter cups when I was on my cycle.
3 minutes, boo. Yay! Well, there you go. You have won whatever prize it was. Let me put this up. Tea time. Woo!
I love it.
I mean, ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner. Tiffany Mathias has been the only one on the Nailed It Motherhood podcast to complete all of the questions in tea time. There you go. Give you your flowers. So that was very fun. Thank you so much for playing. I loved your answers. You were ready for them. Boom, boom, and boom.
I might need to come up with some for myself. Like,
do it.
Yeah, we've not done rapid fire with our guests before.
Do it. At this time, I want to give you back the floor, though.
Okay.
If you would like to share any words of encouragement, any inspiration to our listeners, I would love to hear it. You got a lot to say, so I'm very excited to hear if you have any more motivation left in you. Yeah, so there you are.
Words of encouragement. Be gracious with yourself. If you are the type of person who breathes love and affirmations into everyone else, you're always there showing up as the support person. You're always there to cheer on someone. Remember yourself first. Go look in the mirror and say those same things to you. It might look and feel ridiculous at first, but I promise you it's going to help you shift your perspective.
Absolutely. Remember yourself first. Be gracious to yourself. Look at yourself and tell yourself whatever it is you need from someone else. I love it. I love it. I love it. So what is next for you, Tiffany? And how can our listeners connect with you? I see that you have your handle, but if you want to shout it out for the people who can't see you, that would be awesome.
Okay. So I am on several social media platforms. So I am on Instagram as the number one, _True Phoenix. I am on TikTok as Phoenix Speaks, and I am on Facebook as Tiffany R. Mathias. Coming up next for me is in September. It is going to be a busy September. If you are in the New York City area and you are following me, I will be hosting under my Sisterhood and Shenanigans brand my second annual Falling in Love with Myself brunch. We are doing a pottery exercise. It's going to be so dope, right? And the food is always awesome. And then I will be in Atlanta the weekend of September 28th for the my writing collectives, the Diamond Writers. We're doing a 2-day event. The first one on Friday night is an awards gala. It's an all-white event. You're going to be in the room, in the space with all of the fabulous ladies as we celebrate some trailblazers and some change makers out there doing the thing. And then the next day, we're celebrating the release of our 5th anthology, which is called Audacity. And so it's a 90s theme. So bamboos and box braids. We're going to be doing an author meet and greet. And I will also be giving something called a gem class, which is our version of a TED Talk. Don't know what I'm going to be talking about yet. But in case you haven't noticed, I like to talk. So that's what's going on for me. And then who knows what 2026 is going to bring. But you got to follow me to find out.
But 2025 is doing it big for you, boo. You better do it. I love this. I love this for you. I wish I was closer. And, that's back to school. So I might not be able to make a trip, but I will see if I can. Trust and believe. I have a couple more questions that I ask all parents.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to hear how you respond to these questions. So, is parenting hard?
Absolutely.
But are they still standing?
Oh, they're thriving.
I love that. So what do you want to proudly tell our guests today?
This mama is nailing it.
Nailing it. I love it, Tiffany. Thank you again for coming. You were amazing. I love that you love to talk because I love to listen. And I'm hoping that we can get together again and kiki it up.
Yes.
We will see you soon.
Absolutely.
So, I'm excited. I'm excited to edit this episode. I'm excited to push it out and let your listeners hear our conversation. You're coming back. You're coming back. If you like this episode and you want to hear more personal parenting stories, subscribe to my social media, Nailed It Motherhood Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcast platform. Also, remember that you can be a guest on the podcast by simply completing a guest application. It was easy, right, Tiff?
It sure enough was.
The link is right below. We welcome your questions, we welcome your comments, and we welcome your ideas. And we certainly hope that we can keep this conversation going. Until next time, keep on doing what it is that you do. Smooches.
You're listening to Nailed It Motherhood Podcast.